बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। नूर मौलाना शाह करीम हुसैनी हाजरीमा। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर। Ya Maula Meherban, we have gathered here, Maula, to learn the pearls of knowledge, Maula. Ya Maula Meherban, be the light on the tongue of the Nachis, Maula. Ya Maula, be the light in the hearts of the friends, Maula. Ya Maula, whatever we discuss here, Maula, let it ingrain in our heart and change our hearts, Maula, so we fall in love with you. We fall in love with your Isme Azam, Maula. Ya Maula Meherban, Ya Maula Meherban, we seek the blessings of Isme Azam, Maula. Ya Maula, help us, Maula, help us. Ameen. Alhamdulillah, we are gathered here to have the book study, the Quran in Isme Azam, and I would like to invite a friend who's going to read. Let us start reading.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Book study, the Quran in the Isme Azam, ebook, page number 8. Further, as God says, quote, a grain of corn which groweth 7 years, in every year 100 grains, unquote. This means that only in one crop, 1 grain is multiplied into 700, and as a consequence, it has such a capacity that it could produce sufficient seed for the cultivation of the entire world. But this process would take considerable time. Similarly, in the al-Kitab, that is, the Surah Al-Fatiha, all the meanings of the Quran are contained, but without any time. Moreover, it should be remembered that the words and meanings of the Surah Al-Fatiha are so comprehensive and universal that they embrace all the realities and wisdoms of the Quran. And it is in the tradition and practice of God that He causes an entire world to be comprised in the smallest thing, and then He expands the smallest thing to the extent of the spacious world, just as He has been creating the entire cosmos from a single word of kun, be, then condensing the entire cosmos and the existence into a subtle substance, Gawre Latif, which contains it in the same word kun, be. Surah 6, Ayat 73. In the light of the above-mentioned realities and gnosis, it is clear that the divine speech, the Quran, is not limited, and as such, it has many forms. Its state of command, Amri Kaifiyat, is in the word be, Kalmae Kun. Its luminous form and intellectual existence is in the divine pen. Its spiritual state is in the guarded tablet, Lohe Mahfuz, which is the universal soul. Its semasiological kernel or essence, Manavi Mugs, is in Kitab, the mother of the book, and its revealed shape, as it should be, is in the physical world. And except for the people of Hakikat, nobody knows the secret that the Prophet Muhammad was taught the Isme Azam by the permanent Imam, Al-Imam al-Mukim. And through this name, the Prophet used to perform the special zikr, as a result of which the Quran was revealed upon him, which in the beginning was through the mediation of the pen, the tablet, Israfil, Mikael, and Jibrail. We have already mentioned that the Kitab is the Surah Al-Fatiha exoterically and Imam Ali esoterically, for the Kitab is both the manifest Imam, Imam-e Mubin, and the guarded tablet, Lohe Mahfuz. Further, the light of Nabuwat, prophethood, is the universal intellect, and the light of Imamat is the universal soul. And again, the light of Muhammad is the great Arsh, and the light of Ali is the eternal Kursi. Thus, it is clear that God wrote the glorious Quran on the tablet of Ali's light with the pen of Muhammad's light. Then it revealed itself on the personality of Muhammad in the form of Tanzil, exoteric form of the Quran, and of Tawil, exoteric meaning of the Quran. Then the Prophet entrusted to his true successor Ali, the spirit and spiritualism of the Quran, the wisdom of practical Tawil through the teaching of the Isme Azam. Then this great task continued in the chain of Imamat, progeny after progeny, that is to say, that each Imam hand over to his successor the spirit, Ruh, light, spiritualism, Ruhaniyat, luminousness, Nuraniyat, and practical Tawil of the Quran. This tradition has been practiced not only by the Prophet Muhammad and his successors, the holy Imams, but before them by Prophet Ibrahim. As God says, quote, and he, Ibrahim, made it Ruhaniyat and Imamat, a word, Kalima, that is, Isme Azam, enduring among his progeny, so that they, due to the Isme Azam, may return to God, unquote. This is the tradition of God which is decreed, fixed for all the prophets. As he says, when Allah made his covenant with the prophets, he said, I give you a book and wisdom, and afterward there will come unto you a messenger, confirming that which you possess. You shall believe in him and you shall help him. He said, do you agree? And will you take up my burden, which I lay upon you in this matter? They answered, we agree. He said, then bear you witness. I will be a witness with you. Unquote. Surah 3, Ayat 81. This verse shows on the one hand that in the period of prophethood, the chain of the prophets continued without any interruption. And on the other hand, each prophet not only trusted his successor, but he also helped him in teaching him the Isme Azam. And for this purpose, God made his covenant with the prophets.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah, Subhanallah. So we had a good reading, and let me share my slides and then we can go through that. Are you able to see my slides?
Not yet. Now we can.
You can? Okay. Shukran. All right. So we are back to our study, and thank you to Mumtaz Sahiba for beautiful reading. So let us quickly review what we had discussed in a very brief manner, and then we'll continue to move forward. We had seen this beautiful picture, this light, and we just heard Mumtaz reading that there is kalma kun. When the amre bari comes, there is a word kun, and due to kun, the divine pen, the pen of power, comes into action. It starts writing. Where does it write? In the guarded tablet. And then what do we see? We see the physical book. So we had seen and understood this concept that one point in time, this book is at 3 levels. At the level of kun, it is in the form of nuraniyat. At the level of the pen, it is in the form of ruhaniyat. And then it is written in the guarded tablet, right? And then we see its physical form of the book. And how all this is happening? It is happening because the angel of glory, he is there assisting this Mu'min Salik who is going through resurrection. How? Through Isme Azam. We also realize that there are 2 types of angel. In English, heavenly angels and earthly angels. In Urdu, we say Jalali and Jamali angels. And here we are referring to Jalali angels. We'd also talked about that when we take the example of an ordinary author writing the book, he has an idea in his mind. And then that idea, when he starts writing, it's in the pen as well. And then when the words are written, it is that thought, that idea, it's in the words as well. And then when the book forms, it is also there. Meaning in one point in time, this book is present at 4 places. Why is it important for us to understand this whole process? Because we are realizing the power, the pen of power, kalme kudrat, writing on lohe mahfuz, on the guarded tablet. This miracle can happen to any Mu'min Salih who performs ibadat the way it is ought to be performed. Meaning, when Isme Azam is received, Imam mercifully gives us his khanavadan, his blessings. Meaning, we have this potential which we can actualize to elevate our souls and complete the Isme Azam, right? So though these are different levels of understanding, but in reality, we had also discussed that every level, when we talk of the pen of the power, we are talking about light of Prophet Muhammad, Noor-e Muhammadi. When we are talking about the guarded tablet, we are talking about Noor-e Ali, right? And all, in fact, we had also mentioned that the pen of power is also universal intellect. And then this is universal soul. Meaning at every level, it is the light which is there and in the form of an angel who actually helps a Mu'min Salih who we do not see. Jalali angels we do not see, but they are there because the Mu'min's mind, heart, thoughts are focused on the path of purity, on the taqwa. And we had also seen this example that how we in Quran see analogies, metaphors, examples, parables, all these words are used to help us understand a concept. It is all about example, but we never get stuck into the example. We never take things literally, but understand its meaning. And we had discussed that how when we look at this Surah Fatiha, which is 7 verses in the first page of Quran, but in reality, the essence of the whole Quran is within that page. But we see hundreds of pages in the Quran. And we had taken this allegory, this example, to help us understand what it means. When we look at the seed, we don't see the tree. but potentially the tree is hidden in the seed. When we understand this concept, that how gradually we can see a tree, meaning for a mu'min salik who is studying and seeking the true knowledge, understanding the ta'wil of the Quran, it starts like a seed. But eventually, gradually, the potential becomes actual. And Imam has said in his Farman that it takes years of study. And remember that we believe in ibadat-e-ilmiya and ibadat-e-amliya, meaning we do definitely have to do the ibadat, but at the same time seek knowledge so we can open up our intellect, our mind to understand all these allegories which are given to us in the Quran. Remember, everything is in its potentiality, is present there, if we were to actualize it. Now, this is what we are going to start because that's what is our new reading we did today, that there is a concept of one and its multiplication. And beautifully, Allama Sahib mentions chapter 2, verse 261. And this verse says, the likeness of those who spend their wealth in Allah's way is as the likeness of grain which grows 7 years. In every year, 100 grains. So when we look at this verse, it seems that we are talking about money, charity, because it's about wealth. And those who give money on the path of knowledge, let's say somebody opens up a school or helps in publication of a book or gives money to educate a child, right? All these are called sadqa-e-jariyah, meaning that the khidmat continues to go on, it continues to multiply. If somebody makes the building of the school, numbers of children will continue to study in that building, right? So it is a continuous way of multiplying that reward of being blessed, right? So in this Quranic verse, when we look at this example, again, there is a beautiful example, an example of grain. And you see this beautiful picture that how amazing it is that one seed, one grain, it grows into 7 years. And in every year, we can see how many grains are there, hundreds of grains. And Allama Sahib teaches us that, the way we look at it, that how one grain has multiplied, right? How one grain has multiplied hundreds of times, meaning that one tiny grain has that capacity to produce the food for probably feeding the whole world. One grain, potentially just one grain. But when it is actualized, because it multiplies so strangely, 1, it becomes 7, and 7, it becomes hundreds. There is no logical multiplication. It is just multiplying. And that is why the one grain has the capacity to feed the whole entire world. How amazing and powerful it is. But this is a physical example. Are we able to apply this to what we are studying? That how for the Prophet, our Prophet, when he completed his Isma Azam, Quran was revealed to him. And the way we have understood, due to the hadith of the Prophet, that the whole Quran, one looks at it, but in reality, the complete essence is in the mother of the book, which is Surah Fatiha. Now, Allama Sahib compares that when we take the example of this grain, yes, it can grow so much that it can feed the whole world, but it is in point in time. It has a lifetime. When it grows, it has to be distributed and eaten and finished. Otherwise, it will go bad. There's a limit to it. It has a limited life. This productivity or this capacity is in accordance to the time. Again, this is an example. What are we talking about? We are talking about Ummul Kitab. We are talking about Noor of Ali. We are talking about Universal Soul. We are talking about Lawh-e Mahfuz, the guarded tablet. When we look at this Quranic chapter, Surah Fatiha, the application and the understanding is timeless. Any point in time, anyone will embrace the Noor of Imam and enter into the Quran, they will learn all the realities and wisdoms, all the Haqaiq Umar, all the Haqiqat will be given to them. Let it be 1400 years ago, and we see the example of Salman al-Farsi, not even born Muslim, but being able to reach to that level that he became part of Ahl Bayt. Or we see our Pir Nasir Khusro, 1000 years ago, not even, Ismaili Muslim, but became Khorasan, Hujjat Khorasan. 600 years ago, Pir Sadruddin. They all had the knowledge of Quran. So even this Quran, today when we study, in the light of true knowledge, with Isme Azam of Imam, we will also understand what it means. Meaning, these realities and wisdoms which are hidden in this chapter, in Noor of Ali, it is available to any point in time for anybody who is a true seeker. And beautifully, Allama Sahib teaches us that this tradition, this practice of Allah, that He causes the entire world to be comprised into the smallest things, and then He expands it. And that helps us to understand two Isme Azam, two names out of 99 names in Quran, which are Al-Qabis and Al-Basit. Al-Qabis means the constrictor, the restrainer, right? It is cups, it is one, meaning one grain. We see one grain. But when He makes it, when He expands it, the entire world can be fed with that one grain, because look at the multiplication. It is unbelievably, number of multiplication. So what are we talking about here? We are talking about Sata Shabad Hai Guru Hamara. We are talking about that Lafzi Isme Azam, that word which is given to Mu'min. Right now it is simple word, very small word, right? We can say it, we can read it in our mind, but it's a word. It means nothing right now. Yes, it's a name. It's an exalted name given to us, but it is still a word. But within that word, there is a power, there is this potential. If a Mu'min Salik follows all the condition of doing the ibadat of Isme Azam, there is a hidden Qiyamat, resurrection, which can happen due to the ibadat of Isme Azam. And the whole universe actually is encompassed within that word, within that Isme Azam. At the level of Ilmul Yaqeen, we are learning about Qiyamat, we are learning about resurrection, we are learning about this beautiful example of one grain, multiplying it like that. All these examples and knowledge is helping us to understand that one single word has entire cosmos in it, Al-Qabis and Al-Basit. The entire universe is condensed into that one word. It is that powerful one word. And how these cosmos and existence are in that word, just one word. And Allama Sahib teaches us that there is a subtle substance, Gohar-e Latif. It is a Gohar, it's a substance, and it is subtle. You cannot see it. You cannot realize it. So how do we understand? It is a word. It is just a word. It is not a living, the way Pir taught us, right? Sata Shabad Hai Guru Hamara. Guru is alive. How is it related to this word? This word is so exalted, it is so powerful that it has whole cosmos within it, everything within it. And that's exactly what Prophet Muhammad went through. And Allama Sahib mentions this beautiful Quranic verse, 6/73. وَهُوَ الَّذِي خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ بِالْحَقِّ وَيَوْمَ يَقُولُ كُنْ فَيَكُونُ. He is the one who created the heavens and the earth in truth. On the day of judgment, He will say, be, and there will be. He will say, kun, and it will happen. A Mu'min Salik is gradually taught this knowledge and wisdom of the Quran through various means of ruhaniyat. Various means of ruhaniyat. A moment who is practicing ibadat the way it is ought to be, right? Being accountable, being responsible and serious. Sanjeevgi is very, very important. Along with that, purity of thoughts, taqwa. All these things are very important for our Isme-Azam to become activated for us and to become, go further in the path of progressing. When we are walking on the path of knowledge, gradually we continue to learn this knowledge and wisdom. And Abid, the one who does ibadat, and is hoping and desiring to become an arif, meaning the one who has knowledge, the one who has the marifat. For them, in their being, in their ruhaniyat, they are taught this knowledge. Physically, they are learning too. But physically, there is a limitation. Ilmul yaqeen is limited because we are seeing everything physically. Ruhaniyat is in batin, it's not physical. Meaning for that mu'min salik, his batni senses, his inner senses will open up and he will learn this knowledge in his batin. Meaning what are we saying? We are learning that that one word will multiply unbelievably for us in form of knowledge, in form of wisdom. And every time that mu'min salik will have this aha moments. Because this moment has the habit of zikr and fikr. Reflection is there. And they will receive these precious pearls of spiritual realities within their being. Precious pearls. How? Due to the blessings of Isme-Azam. All it is due to reward of Isme-Azam. Believe it or not, it is all due to the reward of Isme-Azam. We had talked about that it does not matter. The language does not matter. And Imam can speak to us in our batin, in our ruhaniyat, in any language we speak. So language is not a limitation. Language is a way or means of communication in the physical world. But we are talking about ruhani tarakki. And for that, we do not need to worry about any language. However, physically, we take upon ourselves this practice of learning. And we are here understanding the ta'wil of the Quran actually, because we are understanding all different verses and its meaning. Meaning we are trying to read in English, Urdu, Gujarati, Arabic, whatever language we know, but we are working hard to offer our mehmani to Imam that we are sacrificing, we are learning, we desire to learn. When physically we use our senses on this path, His mercy will come that our batni senses will also open up. So here, Allama Sahib, in this English version, of the translation of the book, we have this difficult term, and I wonder how many of you looked at the meaning. Semasiological. Did anybody read the meaning of it? How many of you read the chapter? If I can find out, that'll be lovely. So this term actually means the branch of linguistics, which deals with the words and phrases. It's all about language, right? But language is also important. I want us to realize that it is important to desire to learn. It is okay to make mistakes, but learn. It is important. There's no shortcut. We got to learn. Whatever we can, we have to learn. But the key is, the essence is in the kernel, in the manvi mugs. The way Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah says in his Farman that you eat the almond, but you eat the bark of the almond, but you never eat the mugs. Exactly same example, Allama Sahib is explaining to us that when we are looking at this Kitab, the mother of the book, we just don't look at the chapter or the book, but we have to seek that essence, manvi mugs. What is the essence? What is the ta'wil? What is the hikmat which is hidden in it? And we are very blessed because anyone, if I were to ask, what does it mean? We will say Maula Ali. But how? What does it mean more than that? Because just saying Maula Ali is not enough. Because there are hidden secrets. There are hidden secrets which starts from knowledge and then they continue to unfold within our batin. So we have to realize that there are realities and recognitions which we start learning at the level of the knowledge, but then it continues to go further and continue to open up in our batin. So it doesn't stop at the physical level. We start learning the hakikat at the level of knowledge, but it continues to unfold within our being. So what is that secret actually? Let's say if we were to say for Prophet Muhammad, what was the secret? The secret was that Prophet Muhammad was bestowed the Isme Azam, and he had unfolded that Isme Azam within his being. Remember, it is lafzi, it's a word Isme Azam, but it became Guru in his batin because he completed his Isme Azam. And very importantly, Allama Sahib teaches us that another important secret here is that which people don't know. Ummah doesn't know, they don't realize it. We as a Smiley, Alhamdulillah, we are now walking on the path of knowledge. So I hope majority or all of you would know that Prophet Muhammad was given Isme Azam by Imam Muqim. Prophet Muhammad was given Isme Azam by Imam Muqim. So very importantly, there are different types of Imam. I wonder if we know it all. There are 5 types of Imam, but according to the context of what we are learning today, I have mentioned for you 3 types of Imam. There is Imam Muqim, Imam Mustaqar, and Imam Assas. The function, the task, the job of Imam Muqim is to give the Isme Azam to the upcoming Imam. So Prophet Muhammad, how did he become prophet? What did he do in Gare Hira? He was doing bandagi. Who gave him Isme Azam? We don't see Imam, we see Imam after him. We see Maula Ali. But we have now learned that we believe in cycle, and Maula Ali's father, through the chain of the light of Imamat, which is continuous. Maula Ali's father is Maulana Abu Talib, who was the last Imam of the cycle of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. And being the last Imam, his title was Imam Muqim. And he gave Isme Azam to Prophet Muhammad, right? And Prophet Muhammad, when he completed the Isme Azam and he continued to elevate, we all know that Prophet Muhammad was our first Peer. But he was first Peer of Maulana Abu Talib. He was the Peer of Maulana Abu Talib. But when the cycle began, he is the first Natik and Maula Ali is the first Imam. Then the second type is Mustaqar Imam, which means permanent Imam. And Mustaqar Imam is the one who gets the Amr, like Maula Ali, Maulana Hussain, Maulana Zain Labdi. They will be called Mustaqar Imam. Then there is a term Assas Imam. So Assas Imam is the one who does to the Ta'wil. Prophet Muhammad brought the revelation, miracle of Isme Azam. But that revelation needed Ta'wil. And it is Allah's habit that with every Natik there is an Assas. And the task of the Assas Imam is to do Ta'wil. So Maula Ali was not only Mustaqar Imam, he was also Assas Imam. Why? Because he came with the Natik. And his task, his job was to teach the Ta'wil. And that is why we learned that when the Kalme Kudrat, the power of pen was writing, it was writing in the heart of Maula Ali, who is Lohe Mahfuz, the guarded tablet. And why it was happening? Because he is the Assas Imam. So Muqim Imam gave Prophet Muhammad that secret word, Lafzi Isme Azam, special zikr. When Prophet Muhammad did do that, Quran was revealed in his batin. And Prophet was made to recognize actually Hudud-e-Deen, Ruhani Hudud-e-Deen. He came to recognize. So Hudud-e-Deen, hierarchy of religion, if you don't know this term, Nachiz has done some simple lectures. Dr. Saib, Rashida Saiba has done lecture on Global Lecture Forum. So you can ask Naveen Saiba, she can help you. So we can understand these terms. And remember, we are now growing, we are building on. So we have to catch up and do our homework review. So we continue to go further in the learning, right? So in this book, we are learning that Prophet Muhammad had seen in his batin Ruhani Hudud-e-Deen, and they are Jibrail, Mikail, Israfil, the tablet, and the pen. In his batin, he had seen all these angels, all these hudude ruhani. In his batin, he had seen all these angels. It is very important to realize that there is no shortcut. If anyone says that they don't need Imam, who is the one Siddiq, who is truthful, if we don't recognize the Siddiq, the truthful, we can never reach to Hudud-e-Ruhani. We can never reach to Hudud-e-Ruhani. So this miracle which happened for Prophet Muhammad, the way he had completed the Isma Azam, he was Farman Bardar of the Imam of his time. And he completed the Isma Azam, so he was bestowed the mercy. And in his heart, all the miracles, realities and recognition, all was unfolded in his being. Now, very importantly, we had reviewed some of this, that Prophet Muhammad is the light of Nabuwat. We see that in Surah Hud, Khuda Ta'ala says in chapter 11, verse 7, that he created this world in 6 days. And 7th day he sat on the throne. So 6 days refers to the 6th Natik. And whenever there is a time of prophethood, we don't see Imam, because it is a time of prophethood, they are in front. The rank of the prophethood we can understand as the universal intellect. And light of Muhammad has been taught to us in this chapter. He is the universal intellect. He is the great Arsh, the throne. He is the great Arsh. And the pen of Muhammad, Nur-e-Muhammadi, wrote the glorious Quran, which was Tanzil, in the heart of his true successor, his true vicegerent, which is Maula Ali. How was it written? In the form of Ruh and Ruhaniyat. There was no physical pen as per se. Maula Ali is not, he's a, there is no book as per se. We see the revealed book, physical book, but we are not talking about here physical book. We are talking about that book which was written in his batin, right? So the wisdom of the practical ta'wil was given in his heart. And how was it given? By the teachings of Isma Azam from Prophet Muhammad, actually, because he was the Natik. When it is the time of Natik, he is in front, right? When we talk of Maula Ali, he is the light of Imamat, right? After Maula Ali, we don't see any prophet, we see Imam. So it is all Imam in front, right? So it is the light of Maula Ali, light of Imamat. He is at the level of universal soul. And he is the Kitab, the mother of the book. Exoterically, we see Maula Ali, but esoterically, we see the mother of the book in Batin, right? We also see the book as well, but here we are not talking about the physical book. We are talking about these two Nurani Hastis, Natik and Asas, the beginner of the cycle of Prophet Muhammad, 6th day. We are talking about Nur of Ali, which is the Kursi. Remember in last class we had talked about with picture, trying to understand the throne and the Kursi. So throne is Prophet Muhammad and the Kursi is Maula Ali. And surely Maula Ali is that glorious Quran which is written on the tablet, Lohe Mahfuz, meaning the light of Ali. Remember, there is a continuation in the chain of Imamat. Without Imam, this world will not last. Even though if it is a time of prophethood, people may not know that Imam is there. And we used to hear that Imam is in Batin. Batin meaning we did not know. They were there, but they were not in front. So we always saw the prophet, right? So each Imam hands over his true successor. He makes his Janashin. He, in his group, in his Ruhaniyat, in the Nuraniyat, they give this knowledge, this ilm to the next in line, the true successor, the practical ta'wil of the Quran. So what do we see? Maula Ali being the Asas Imam. After Maula Ali, it is Imam Hussain, Imam Zainul Abidin. And the chain of the light of Imamat continues to go on. And it started from the Maula Ali, who was at the status of luminous supreme name. What does that mean? It means that Maula Ali himself, actually in his time, was Nurani Isme-Azam. But when it was time of the Prophet Isa, Prophet Musa, they themselves were at the status of this luminous supreme name, Nurani Isme-Azam. Meaning, we have to understand that there are times of prophets and then there are times of Imam. So when we look at the history, when it is the time of the Prophet himself, his exalted personality is the Nurani Isme-Azam. But in the time of Imam, this tradition continues to go on, and Imam Shah Karim is this Nurani Isme-Azam. So his personality is full of Nur. He's the Nur of Ali and the Paigambar. He's the Nur of Prophet and Maula Ali. So this tradition continues to go on from every prophet. He chooses his successor, holy imams, and they choose their successor, and it continues to go on. How do we know that? Because Allama Sahib helps us to see this Quranic verse. And we see this 43/28. And he, Ibrahim, made it Ruhaniyat and Imamat, a word, kalima, which is decreed for all the prophets. This practice of kalima, this practice of Isme-Azam, it is from the beginning. Though there is no beginning, we believe in cycles. It is from ever. And very beautifully here in the example of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, we see it in the Quran, that in his Ruhaniyat and Imamat, how did it become that for him? Through a word, through the Isme-Azam, through the kalima. So our Paigambar became Paigambar, Natik became Natik through Isme-Azam. And very beautifully in chapter 4, verse 54 says, فَقَدْ آتَيْنَا عَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَآتَيْنَاهُمْ مُلْكًا عَظِيمًا. We bestowed upon the house of Ibrahim, meaning the progeny, chain of the light of Imamat, because Ibrahim became Imam. Maulana Ismail became Imam, and that chain of the light continued till today, Shah Karim. So what does Khuda Ta'ala says in Quran? That we have bestowed on the progeny of Ibrahim, the house of the Ibrahim, the scripture, wisdom, and mighty kingdom. Mulkan Azima. Now we don't see Hazrat Imam having a country or being a president or prime minister, but he has the mighty kingdom. He is the Lord of the whole world in Ruhaniyat, in Batin. And it has been bestowed upon the Imam by Khudawan Ta'ala. And he says it very clearly in the Quran. Chapter 3, verse 81 says that when Allah made his covenant with the prophets, he said, I give you a book and wisdom. And afterward, there will come unto you a messenger, confirming that which you possess. You shall believe in him, and you shall help him. Meaning, when this agreement is made by Allah, covenant is made by Allah, that a prophet comes, for example, let's say Paigambar Ibrahim. Paigambar Ibrahim, when he came, he confirmed the Natik before him. Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, when he came, he confirmed the Natik before him. Prophet Muhammad came, he confirmed Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. And we see that in the Quran. So this is the covenant, this is the agreement which has been made by Lord, that this will continue to happen. Haqq is transferred, the truth is transferred based on the agreement. He said, do you agree? And will you take up my burden, which I lay upon you in this matter? Khuda Ta'ala is asking Prophet Ibrahim actually, that do you want to become Imam? Do you want to take this burden? And surely he sacrificed. And we do know that not only Prophet Ibrahim, but when the time came for Maulana Ismail alayhi salam, he did not hesitate. And that young child, the child of son, the son of a prophet, when he was asked, when Prophet Ibrahim told him his dream, the ta'wil is that you have to dedicate your life to the Jamaat, the way Hazrat Imam says. I have dedicated my life just like my grandfather for the Jamaat. And this young child, Maulana Ismail alayhi salam, says, do as your God has commanded you. I am willing to be sacrificed. Imam has dedicated his life for the Jamaat. When we look at Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, go look at all the Imams, go to Maulana Ismail with Prophet Ibrahim. Every Natik has a sas with him. All the Imams have come for one and one purpose, to guide us, to give us Isme Azam, those who seek, those who want, who desire, give us Isme Azam so we can elevate. So these verses show on one hand that there is a period of prophethood, because we see Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam is the Natik, but we also see that his son is also Imam Maulana Ismail alayhi salam. So what we are learning, that the chain of the light never gets interrupted. The only thing is that when the prophets are there, people may not see the Imam, but Imam is always present, right? And beautifully, we also learn that the Prophet always chooses his trusted successor, right? When he chooses his successor, what happens? He also helps him in teaching the Isme Azam. So, for example, in the example of Prophet Ibrahim teaching Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam, Isme Azam, sacrifice, all for the purpose of that covenant, the agreement which was made by the Prophet, that the chain of the light will continue to go on. And this chain never breaks, right? So all what we are learning very beautifully in this book, actually, it is all due to Isme Azam. It is all due to the Isme Azam. Noor and Nuraniyat, Ruhaniyat, you name it, everything. All the wisdoms we are learning, they are the beauty of all Isme Azam. How does that happen? When the Isme Azam is recited and a moment elevates, his physical senses, eventually, according to the hadith of Nawafil, in which Allah says that I become his eye. When my moment, offers Nawafil ibadat, meaning doing more than what is compulsory, what is must. Isme Azam ibadat is not must. Those who volunteer, those who seek, they willingly come forward to come close to the light of Imamat. So they sacrifice their sleep. They want to have taqwa during the daytime. They want to transform their carnal soul. So they continue to do what is needed to be done. Why? To come close to the Nur. For them, this hadith and Nawafil is there, that for them, their physical senses actually become one with his senses. He says that I become their ears or their eyes, their hands, their feet. Can we imagine that? Meaning that Momin Salik becomes Nur. All due to Isme Azam. All the blessings of the intellect and the soul, which are hidden in the Isme Azam, are given to that Momin Salik. Very beautifully, in Quran it says, Tabaraka, Isme Rabbika Zil Jalali wal Ikram. Tabaraka meaning blessed. The Lord, Rabb, here means actually the supreme Isme Azam. So very beautifully when we look at this verse, it says, blessed be the name of thy Lord, glorious and generous. But I've intentionally kind of made it different colors so you can see that Rabbika here means Lord, right? Which means actually Isme Azam. What does it mean? Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara. Do you see how Pir Sadruddin was teaching us the Talim of the Quran? Tabaraka, meaning blessed. Blessed is his name. Which name? Isme Azam. All the material and spiritual blessings which a true Mu'min receives through Isme Azam, all these blessings of the book and the wisdom, all the Ruh and Ruhaniyat we are understanding, all this are actually including the practical Tawil of the Quran, all it is within the Isme Azam. And very beautifully, Khuda Ta'ala in Surah Qamar, chapter 54, verses 17, 22, 32, and 40, He says it 4 times, same verse. What does he say? وَلَقَدْ يَسَرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلْذِكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِّرٍ. And we have certainly made the Quran easy for remembrance. So is there anyone who will remember? Now tell me, physically, when we look at the Quran, is it easy to remember? Now we find it difficult because it is not our language. But here, what Quran we are understanding? The Quran, which was unfolded in the batin of Prophet Muhammad. How was it unfolded? From that word, kun, and it became. Do we have that word? Do we have that Ism Azam? Can we also do such ibadat with such piety and purity? To make the Quran easy to remember and warn us. How does it happen? Allama Sahib says that it is beautifully epitomized into the Ism Azam, meaning everything is encompassed within that word. Word is very tiny, very small, but everything is within that word. For a true moment, hakiki moment, it is easy to remember because Khuda Ta'ala says it himself that I have certainly made this Quran easy for remembrance. But is there anybody who can remember? Recall Imam Sultan Umar Shah's Farman, Mola says that Yadgari Rakhwanu Kam Ghanuj Kathan Che. It is very difficult to stay in remembrance. And then Mola continues to tell why is it difficult? Because when we lack courage, when we don't have knowledge, then of course it is difficult because we get into the traps of shaitan. Right? All this ruhaniyat and nuraniyat, which is living, which is speaking realities, all will appear for a mu'min salik who completes the Ism Azam. However, this talim has not been understood. It says very clearly. Is there anybody who would remember? Because we have not understood, so we don't realize that how it has been made easy for us. And Khuda Ta'ala knew, right? So he said it not once, twice, thrice, but 4 times. Repeated it. So we have to realize that the wisdom which we talk about, the practical ta'wil of the Quran, all is actually, said to be ilmul asma, in the names of the, in the knowledge of the names. Ilmul asma, in the knowledge in all the names. All the knowledge is given in name. Which name? Which is Ism Azam. Which is Ism Azam. How? All the realities and recognition, when a mu'min salik reaches into the batni realm, they are able to see all of it. And it is all due to the result and consequence of Ism Azam, the pure word, right? Again, we have to remember in the story of Adam. And when I said Ilmul Asma, actually it is to relate to the story of Adam because he was the one who was taught all the knowledge of all the names, right? All the things, Ilmul Ashya, names of all the things were taught to Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. And all these names, when it was taught, it was not physically he was sitting in a school or university with a physical book. No, it was taught in his batin. And when he was giving this teachings to the angels who prostrated to him, it was not only physical, it was spiritual as well. All the meaning of these names, great names, the teaching of this sublime realities which is within the great name of God, it was given to all the angels, those who prostrated to him. So when we are understanding that these talim was given to Adam alayhi salam in his batin, it holds the position of the heavenly book of Adam, Ilmul Ashya. He was given all the knowledge. So in other words, what we are saying that we understand this probably better for Hazrat Paigambar Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Because we see Quran and we see Maula Ali, it is 1400 years ago. But when we talk of Adam, it is far 7,000 years ago. It is difficult. But when we look at the details of the, all the miracles which happened, the meaning, the essence will be the same. Hazrat Adam alayhi salam also had the heavenly book. His talimat held the position of the heavenly book. So what we are saying, when a Mu'min Salik succeeds in achieving the higher status through this special bandagi of Ism Azam, all the doors of divine blessings open for him. And he enters into this realm of Ruh and Ruhaniyat. And all the angels actually converse with him. Remember, we talked about the first picture, first slide we saw that the angel is there. Because Mu'min Salik is invoking this angel, in fact, many angels the whole day through their zikr ibadah. And what happens? This unique world which comes into existence in their batin, blooming, radiant, beautiful world of Ruhaniyat and Nuraniyat. Where is it actually? It is all within the personal world, meaning every particle starts blooming with the radiance, and the eyes of the heart open up and see every particle dazzling and radiant beautifully. However, when we physically look at the physical world, we only see the material things, exoteric things. So again, going back to the first lesson we had learned kind of in the last class, that this book exists at the 3 levels, meaning when we look at the Mu'min Salik, there is an intellect, there is a soul, there is a tanzeel, physical book, and then there is a ta'wil, 4 different levels. All these talimat are there. There are ranks, there are stages, which are kind of, climbed up through the Ism Azam. So again, the world of Noor, Ruhaniyat, knowledge, it is so beautiful. It becomes a speaking book for that Mu'min Salik because it converses, it teaches, it talks, speaks through an angel. Because when we look at the story of Hazrat Paigambar, he was sitting in Ibadah, then Jibreel came and he was talking to him. In reality, it was nothing outside. It was all within his being. He was talking and listening. There was a conversation. So all that Ruhaniyat and Nuraniyat which was happening, it is a miracle of Ism Azam. So in conclusion, it is all about the light of God, light of the Prophet, light of the Imam of the time. It is the Ruh and the Noor of the Quran. It is the Ruh and the Hidayat of Imam. It is actually Noor of the Iman. Very important point here, Iman, because Iman also is in Darjat. If you want the names, there are 3 levels of Iman. Iman-e-Naqis, meaning incomplete Iman. Iman-e-Raji, meaning seeking Iman. And then Iman-e-Kamil, complete Iman. Right? So it is also light of Iman. And that is why we say that Mola, Hamara Iman wa vadharo kar, Hamara Iman ne mazboot rakh. Wherever we are, stay firm at that level of Iman. But then we also seek increase in the Iman. Right? Iman and Batin, which we don't see. Through knowledge, we realize all this Batni ilm, but we don't see. So first, it is all at the level of knowledge we believe. And if you were to open up the Quran and look at the 2nd chapter, the 2nd verse says that those mu'minin who believe in Ghaib, in Batin, they are the mu'mins. Those who don't believe in Batin, they are not called mu'mins. And it is difficult to believe in Batin because how do we don't see Batin. But when we learn this true knowledge, it beautifully helps us to realize that there is Batin, and it's a beautiful word. It's a beautiful word. It is a luminous lamp. It is light for mu'minins. And this luminous lamp illuminates the world of the imanis in their heart. It is a light of the heavens and the earth. Allahu nuru samawati wal ards, the verse of light. So all this spiritual elevation, these are all in steps. And when we follow the footsteps of our imams, our prophets, through the practice, staunch practice of Ism Azam, we can also elevate to that level where Imam wants to see us. ALWAEZA beautifully says that though this is such a beautiful topic that the Holy Quran is all within Isme Azam. And Allah Sahib says that I've tried to go into detail to explain it, but Allah Sahib says that I have not, done the justice to it. So what I've done, I've taken the whole, we didn't get a time to read, but I've, talked about the whole chapter. And Allah Sahib towards the end says that I've tried to explain it to you. Now imagine the limitation. Do we remember that verse Peer says that Gunge sapna paya? If somebody says, ask, then what did you see in your ruhaniyat? It is as if, a mute saw a dream. How will he talk about it? He can't. But Peer wrote a beautiful Ginan, right? To help us to kind of, attract us to this world of ruhaniyat and nuraniyat. That is the same thing I see Allah Sahib doing for us and teaching us that he himself went through this Qiyamah. So he's written in this book all what he had witnessed in his batin. But he has used different Quranic verses, words to help us probably feel in our being, more than just listening at intellectual level. Probably our souls are being touched with these beautiful words. And there's a desire to do more. There's a desire to be very, very focused in our ibadat time. Work hard to fight with the thoughts and focus on the Isme Azam. Happily wake up for ibadat, never miss a day, and become responsible, accountable, and sit in chokkas ibadat. Maulana Imam Sultan Masha says, sit in choksai, like complete concentration, and do focused ibadat. So alhamdulillah, what a beautiful learning, what a beautiful chapter. We have completed. So this book actually has only one article. So we have completed one whole book, all due to your prayers that we finished this. Shukran lillah, walhamdulillah, shukran lillah, walhamdulillah.
Subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah. NIAMAT, the concept of when we look at the knowledge, it seems a whole lot we need to cover in order to understand it and comprehend it to progress. Then we understood the chapter as, the kalima has given to you, the Isme Azam is given to you. So suddenly it becomes smaller, that, you have something really small to focus into to comprehend what you will get, excuse me. But then what happens is, like, when we read all of that, it becomes the example you gave, Al-Qabez and Al-Basit, it sounds like it automatically, encompasses and it brings it closer due to the Isme Azam?
Yes, definitely.
So if a Mu'min Salik is practicing more on Isme Azam, but not understanding every single thing in the knowledge, how would you, what would you say to them?
Oh, okay. So you are again, that always comes this question that knowledge versus Isme Azam. So there is no shortcut. That's what I would say. There is no shortcut. We have to have knowledge as well as ibadat. Sometimes people think that if we can just do the ibadat, we will get everything we are seeking. But the key is that we will not be able to understand anything we are seeing in our ibadat. In fact, one may get scared and they skip doing ibadat, and that we have heard in our forum, few times already. So when we think of knowledge and ibadat, it is as if they are two oars of one boat. It cannot be just one oar. If we take one oar, we will be going in circles and not progressing. If we want to truly progress, then we really need to do ilm and ibadat as well. And physically, we use our senses, we work hard, we learn knowledge, but the understanding of that knowledge multiplies many, many times in our batin when we are doing ibadat of Ismail Azam as well as learning knowledge. So the journey, as if, once, let's take the example, if somebody is just doing Ismail Azam, ibadat, and not using the intellect according to the farmans of Imam, and they're probably using their intellect only for worldly gain, right? Then it is as if that we are on the horse cart and walking on the path of seeking Ruhaniyat. But the person who starts seeking knowledge and also are doing ibadat, they will be as if they'll start from horse cart to probably, in the car, then in the, train, and then why not in the plane? Then why not in the, space rocket? The speed continues to increase. The person is same, the days, the time is same, ibadat is same, but because of the piety, because of the taqwa, because of the desire to learn knowledge, to come close to the nur of Imam and doing staunch, honest ibadat, becoming staunch moment, the speed of that moment asali on this path continues to multiply. Zikr becomes ajam pyajam on its own automatically. So there are very many benefits actually, which we have to realize that one will get if we are learning knowledge as well as doing the ibadat.
Subhanallah. Ji Shala Saiba has a hand up. Go ahead, please.
Shahla or Shafina, whoever it is.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Shukr Mullah. Ya Ali Madat Niamat Saiba, it's Shahla. Subhanallah, subhanallah, what a beautiful session, Niamat Saiba. Now she has posted, privately to Naveen Saiba when you asked who has read the book, that yes, I ostensibly have read the book, but it became clear that at least 40 more readings are required to even begin to penetrate the essence. It is so beautiful, and yet you open up and give us great joy. Yes, we are falling in love with Ismail Azam more and more, which is what you said at the beginning. Niamat Saiba, we often remember Maulana Hazri Imam's farman about learn 11 times, where clearly he does not just mean secular knowledge. But the other day, Nachi's read this other farman, Singapore, 31st March 2012. May I read just 2-3 lines?
Please.
Let us recite the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Singapore, 31st March 2012. My beloved spiritual children, as we look to the future, what is essential? What is essential for all murids around the world? The first is regular practice and understanding of the Shia Ismaili Tariqah of Islam. And within that Tariqah, the role that is played by intellect, knowledge, understanding, wisdom, the capacity to analyze and think ahead. So that is a particularly important aspect, whether you are living here or anywhere else in the world, that is central to the continuum of happiness in the practice of the faith. Let us recite the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Nachi's just wanted to share because it immediately popped into mind as soon as you were speaking about the importance of knowledge and the two together, 2 oars for the boat. Thank you again for this beautiful session.
Thank you. This is beautiful that, one asks the question, another is answering. We have become knowledgeable, alhamdulillah. That's beautiful. Thank you, Shala, for doing that. So I hope that we will not have this question anymore, right? We have to now understand that we understand Imam's Farman, that he has emphasized so much on using intellect and knowledge in this path also. Our purpose of the life, reason being in this world, is only to progress in Ruhaniyat. And the reason we have knowledge, so we can now study the books of our deen to understand and to learn and grow and just walk in the path of Ruhaniyat and meet Imam. Have his didar. Ameen.
Ameen, Ilahi, Ameen. Friends, if you have any questions, any comments, you can unmute and come forward. Ji Shala Sahib.
NIAMAT Sahiba, I have a question and it's half formed and I'm not even sure it's going to make sense, but I'm going to ask it anyway. It was so beautiful to hear about these two Isme Azams, the two names, beautiful, beautiful names of Imam that we don't often hear. Maybe some of us have never heard it before. Al-Qabiz and Al-Basit. So beautiful. And this whole beautiful law of unfoldment and enfoldment. I'm just trying to understand it more deeply, and you beautifully explained it. And also, you know, there are levels of understanding, and I wonder if you could take us even a little bit further in that understanding. And I was thinking about it in the context of what you know, this author, Reza Shah Kazemi, says about when we recite and when we remember. Particularly, he talks about remembrance as being very multifaceted. As we know, remembrance is multifaceted. But the particular, the zikr, the practice of zikr. And he talks about how when we call on these beautiful names, that we take on the qualities of these names. And so in the context of Al-Qabiz and Al-Basit, how do we, first of all, go deeper into the understanding of those laws, but also how do we understand this even more deeply about the unfoldment and enfoldment that happens within us, how we take on the qualities of these names? Does that make any sense?
Yes, you did. You said beautifully. So again, there are very many levels of understanding these two Isme Azam, which are given in Quran, right? From the 99 names of Allah. One is Al-Qabis and one other is Al-Basid. And the way I would like to repeat the way we understood in this chapter, that the way Isme Azam is just one word, but within that name, the Noor of Imam, the whole world, its existence, its realities, its essence, everything is within that name. But the name is so tiny. But when that tiny name, due to the following of the condition, when it starts opening up in the batin of the moment, that moment now sees the other world, lives in this world, but sees the other world and is able to realize and recognize all and everything. So this example will help us understand, because in the terms of Ginans also, we understand that, right? Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamar. But when we want to simplify it and understand it, it is simply like this. Al-Qabis, Al-Basid. Al-Qabis, Al-Basid. Meaning, if you want to take it to the higher level, right? I'm going to give you a very high level understanding too as well, because some may understand and it's okay. When a Mu'min Salik goes through the Qiyamah, is going through the resurrection, all the world of particles within that moment, right? We read in the book that it becomes full of Ruhaniyat and Nuraniyat. And when we understand Qiyamah, meaning that the person is dying, Mutu qabla anta mutu, die while living. So when a Mu'min Salik is dying in that Qiyamah, the whole world of particles actually are spread in the whole universe. And they are brought back into that Mu'min Salik. What am I saying? I'm saying that when we look at ourselves as an individual, we see one person, a small being. What is our ability? That's how we see it, right? But Maula Ali said that you don't think of yourself as a small being. You have the whole universe within you. But that universe, the knowing of that universe, how will that happen? When we will use our intellect, to learn knowledge, and when we use our soul to do zikr ibadat, when we do both the things by using our physical body, lifetime, sacrifice, what will happen that a mu'min and salik can go through the qiyamah. And within their batin, they will be able to see, travel in their batin to see the whole world and its existence and everything. Because the world of particles is spread throughout this universe. And then it is brought back again. Then it is brought back again. How? So there is Al-Qabis and Al-Basit, right? It is folded within one being and unfolded. So enfolded and unfolded. It's happening in all these different examples. Let's take another example, which is again simpler example, that when Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah says that bring your soul out. In your ibadat time, die and bring your soul out. So if we are able to bring our soul out, what that soul is going to do? That soul is going to travel everywhere. Meaning, due to the ibadat of the Ism-e Azam, the soul got wings. It got this ability, capability to come out and spread throughout the universe. Because that travel is in the realm of Ruhani. This is not a physical travel that there is a plane and then we are flying. No, because there is this Ruhani travel and it is taking over all the world, seeing everything, conversing with angels and everything. So suddenly, this person who was once sitting in Bandagi became Al-Basit. So the soul came out and he spread out the whole world. And then he came back, again Al-Qabis in one body. So there are very many ways of understanding this miraculous name, Al-Qabis, Al-Basit. So these are also, one can do zikr on these names, right? The way we know 99 names, Al-Hayy is 19, one of the names. Ya Rizwan we do, that is also a name. Al-Qabis, Al-Basit is also a name. And if we are understanding the meaning of it, that we are encompassed in this physical being, but we want our soul to come out. So one way of doing that or asking him is saying that Mawla, you are Al-Qabis Al-Basit. Help me, come out and be Basit as well. Have that, give me that miracle. And if we are following that conditions, then those attributions are also ours. Ji.
Subhanallah, 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 beautiful. Another friend, Zina Taiba, shared her reflection is that being encompassed in the Ism-e Azam is the whole universe, which opens up into our personal world. Friends, any other comments?
Yes, we can do
so
zikr.
yeah, you, okay.
So we do this zikr. If you have heard the zikr session, we do this zikr, Al-Qabis and Al-Basit. So how about tomorrow you join and we will request Naveen Sahaba to do the zikr before the class with the slides so we can see it. Thank you.
Ameen, inshallah. Thank you, NIAMAT Sahaba, for beautiful session. Thank you for sharing the knowledge and time with all of us. Thank you, friends, for joining. See you all tomorrow. Ya Ali Madad, Ya Ali Madad, NIAMAT Sahaba.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad.
Ya limadad.
Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad.
Ya limadad.
Ya Ali Madad.
Ya limadad. Thank
Ya-
you.
Shukran Mawla. Ya Ali Madad.
Thank you so much.
Ya Ali Madad.
Ya Limadad.
Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad.
Ya limadad.
Ya Ali Madad.
Mola limadad.